What is going on, everybody? It's the France, and we're back again with our NXT review. This was the last NXT of the year on December 27th, 2017, where we had the Fatal 4-Way to see who will face and join us on almas at TakeOver Philadelphia, as well as the NXT Women's Championship was on the line. And we did get a good bit of storyline progression going into the new year. We have a little bit more idea of what's going to happen for a few key people in the new year for the what it would be the women's title picture coming out of towards what's going to be New Orleans. But we're going to see. But the two people who are going to be in contention has been decided. I'm pretty sure without it actually being said. And we also had that amazing main event, which had what looks like we have a match that is going to happen at TakeOver Philadelphia, which I think will be a really good match, and I'll be looking forward to that. We also had a team lay down the gauntlet for the NXT Tag Team Championships and tells the Undisputed Era that they are coming in 2018. This show was a pretty good match. Next week really isn't going to be a review week simply because it's just the best of 2017, so I really don't see any reason to review next week's show. But tonight also, how hard is it for WWE on the main roster to book women the right way? You had a women's title match and a post-match that makes me excited for what they're doing in NXT for the women, way more than they are for the Women's Royal Rumble and anything they've been doing on WWE's main roster for the women in the last 2 years. Tonight you had the debut of Shayna Baszler, who knows how to make her debut, and it was just short, sweet, and to the point. There was no hokiness to it. It was just she came out, she did what she had to do, and she made her presence known. Why is it so difficult to see? How is it that a group of writers of probably I think there's 30 or 40 in WWE can't come up with good booking moves for the women on WWE's Raw and SmackDown, but yet I think it's Triple H and one or two other guys are writing for the men and the women in NXT, and they are just hitting home run after home run after home run, and yet we have a Women's Royal Rumble that's going to be god awful. We do have that Fatal 4-Way, which was great. We had 3 matches tonight. We had the Street Profits took on a bunch of young, local jobbers. One looking like a very, very young Justin Hawk Bradshaw, who would turn out to be Bradshaw, aka JBL, without the mustache. You had Ember Moon versus Sonya Deville for the NXT Women's Championship. We all know, without having to be spoilers, how that was going to go. And tonight, you did have Johnny Gargano reach the pinnacle of contendership to face on Johnny Almas at NXT TakeOver Philadelphia with an interference by the Undisputed Era and what is setting up for Adam Cole versus Aleister Black at NXT TakeOver Philadelphia, which that match right there I am looking forward to. That will be the show stealer of NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. It's going to be Johnny Gargano and Cien Almas and Aleister Black versus Adam Cole. Again, this time it will be given the proper time, because back on the one what they did for the USA Network for WWE Week didn't get the proper time that it should. So I am looking forward to see what these guys can actually bring us to the table in NXT in Philadelphia, which is going to be way better than anything, and I mean anything, they give us at the Royal Rumble, because we all know where the Royal Rumble is going to go. We all know the Women's Royal Rumble is going to be awful. The triple threat match for the Universal title, who cares? And I'm looking forward to, and this is why I love takeovers, because we go a whole year with 13, 14, 15, whatever pay-per-views, and all of them have been awful over the last 5, 6 years. We might get a gem here or there, but takeover, every single takeover I have seen, I have not seen a bad takeover since Arrival. It was NXT Arrival. Yes. Since 2014, when they first put on that NXT Arrival, it wasn't Takeover yet. It was just Arrival. I just loved every single one of them. I'm glad they pulled them out of Full Sail, because I think it would have just been stagnant and it would have got boring and it would have just gone nowhere if they would have stayed in Full Sail. But since then, they've just been out of the park every single time. And since TakeOver, and we're going to get we got 5 this year in Chicago. We get it again this year in Chicago, so it's going to be like Chicago 2. I don't think that was by coincidence. I think that they just love to give Chicago these events. That's going to be great. We have one for Philadelphia, New Orleans, Chicago. I believe it's going to be Brooklyn 4, and I don't remember what Survivor Series is next year. But those are those 5 days before the big 5 pay-per-views are going to be the best shows you will see on the WWE Network when it comes to a pay-per-view, or as they call them, special events. The show started off tonight with the Street Profits, as I said, taking on a Chris Starr and Riley Apex. The whole time of this match, they were calling, I don't know which one was which, they didn't really give you an information. This match didn't last that long anyway, which one was which, but the guy who, the taller of the two, did look like, if you looked at the back of him and you didn't see him from the front, you could probably mistake him for Justin Hawk Bradshaw. And for the younger fans who don't know who Justin Hawk Bradshaw is, it is JBL before he took on the Bradshaw name, and then he took on his gimmick that he has in his AdSense. This match really was nothing to it. Belly to the back splash is a beautiful combo where Montez Ford gets hit with the belly to the back and just gets splashed over. Montez Ford is going to be a star. He has all the tools for a singles run in NXT or in WWE if he is done right. Angelo Dawkins is just there to go for the ride. When this show breaks up, Dawkins will turn on Montez Ford whenever this happens, whether it's in NXT or on the main roster. When this team breaks up, because as WWE likes to do, they break up every tag team they can on the main roster, Montez Ford will be turned on because Angelo Dawkins will be jealous because Montez Ford is the most beloved character, or whatever they want to say. But Dawkins will have, if he's booked properly, a awesome singles career in WWE. I could see him being WWE champion down the line. I don't know if WWE would actually allow that, but he will. Match ends with the pop-up spinning buster. Ford tags in and hits a beautiful 5-star frog splash. Not just any frog splash. He hit a beautiful 5-star. After the match, they get up into the crowd, have microphones, start talking about how they arrived in 2017, how they've done everything they needed to do to make themselves known. They start running down Sanity, AOP, and the Undisputed Era, and then said in 2018 they're coming for the NXT Tag Team titles, and they're here. So I am looking forward to see what they do with the Street Profits in 2018. Will they have a run with the Tag Team Championships? I don't think it will be early on. I'm saying probably New Orleans or Chicago. So, yes, they will probably win the Tag Team titles at either New Orleans or Chicago. So I'm looking forward to see what they do for there. Ember Moon versus Sonya Deville for the NXT Women's Championship was up next. Not too bad of a match. I figured Sonya Deville was done after Ruby Riott. This, of course, will be her last match in NXT, probably, unless they send her back down for being so bland in Absolution. She tried to control this match for the most part. This was also, of course, Ember Moon's first title defense. Deville was trying to use her MMA background the best she could. She did try to put the ankle lock or the knee bar on Ember Moon, and early on didn't work out. Ember Moon got out of that pretty fast. Moon did a flip reverse into an arm drag, then a kip up. Both women started trading misses, like kick misses, like they would try and kick the other, like one, and the other one would dodge out of it. They did that back and forth a couple times. Cannonball off the apron to Deville, who was on the outside as they went to the break. Back from the break, Deville with some knees for a pin. Deville tries to control Moon until Moon turns a waist lock into a wheelbarrow toss into the bottom turnbuckle, and Deville hit that turnbuckle hard. She just slammed right into that turnbuckle. It was a beautiful looking spot. She hit it right. Kicking combo and forearm strikes for a 2 for Moon. Deville looks to kick a running Moon, but gets caught. She's in the corner. Moon comes up to her, tries to do a running attack. Moon catches her kick, goes to lift her up, and Sonya Deville puts so much weight onto her, it ends up being a detriment to Ember Moon, and she gets squashed between Deville and the apron. Springboard dropkick by Moon is a good spot. Match ends with a running shot to Deville in the corner. or running forearm. It was a running forearm in one corner. She runs pretty much to the other corner diagonally, gets on the top rope, hits the Eclipse for the pinfall, and your winner was Ember Moon. Post match, Kairi Sane's music hits. Kairi Sane walks out with one of those telescopes that a pirate would use. I don't know what they call it. She's twirling it around. She gets on in front of the ramp, extends it, and just points at Ember Moon with it. She's got her eyes, as Marvin Hour said, she has her eyes on the NXT Women's Championship. Ember Moon looks back at the title, raises it, and shakes her head. All of a sudden, out from behind Kairi Sane, Shayna Baszler just comes up from behind and gets her and takes her down in a rear naked choke and just chokes the life, like almost a literal life, out of Kairi Sane. And that's not hard to do with how small Kairi Sane is. So anytime you see Kairi Sane in that type of move, it's going to look more devastating just because of her small size. So as JD from NY206 put on Twitter, and I couldn't agree more, Shayna Baszler knows how to make a debut. It was just short, sweet, to the point, no hokiness to it, no nothing. She just comes out, asserts her dominance, and makes you know that these two will probably have a match in NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. So things are looking up for the women's division. You have these three women right here. You have, I'm sure, Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, unless they're moving up after the Royal Rumble, which would not surprise me. And there's other women too, like Bianca Belair, you'll probably see again soon, and others from the Mae Young Classic. So after she finally lets go, and I'm thinking to myself, you're in the ring, Ember Moon. Are you just gonna sit there and let somebody who wants to challenge you for the title and get attacked from behind? Why what was the logic behind that? That was the one thing I was like, you're in the ring, you could go stop her. You're just gonna sit there and watch. That's just anytime somebody does that, it just like, why aren't you doing something? It's not like she's a heel and you're like, oh, she's getting what she deserves. You're just sitting there watching her get choked out like that. It's always just something like that that just gets on. It just gets on my nerves. We get to the back and they flash to the back and you have the AOP and Paul Ellering. Ellering talks about how they have dominated NXT. They won the Dusty Classic, became the tag team champions. They were undefeated for the longest time until Brooklyn, and then came War Games, and another team, aka the Undisputed Era, comes in and thinks they're going to write the next chapter of this story, which is the Authors of Pain. Paul Ellering says the next chapter will be written by the AOP, and this is their house, and they are the judge, jury, and executioner, and Undisputed Era is on borrowed time. So it looks like we might see the Undisputed Era versus the Authors of Pain at NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. So that's two titles. That's two titles that are going to probably be on the line that we know. So far, we still don't know who's going to challenge Ember Moon, with Shayna Baszler and Kairi Sane being occupied in a match that I'm hoping they don't put them to in a triple threat match against Ember Moon. Let's just leave the triple threat match out of it. Give these two a match against each other because they have a grudge match. You have Shayna Baszler, who is furious that she lost to Kairi Sane and wants revenge. And Kairi Sane now has a gripe because she just got choked out and embarrassed on NXT TV. So those two should face off one-on-one for what could be the number one contendership to go to New Orleans. I don't think so. That's too far off, I believe. But yes, and I could see Nikki Cross, which we didn't see at all. But Nikki Cross, I could see taking on Ember Moon, and I think that would be a great match. Charlie St. Cloud, who just sounds awful, was in the back with Ember Moon, asked about what happened after the match and what happened with Sane and Baszler. She says that if these guys want a match, then she's not hard to find, but if they want to step up next time, maybe they should step up in the ring. And then she walks off. Fatal 4-way number one contenders match for the NXT Championship. Dane versus Black versus Sullivan versus Gargano. We recapped before the match how these four got here. Beautiful, beautiful package. Anybody, I don't know who does the highlight packages for NXT and WWE, but those guys deserve a raise because they get you hyped for any of these matches, like any match that's do hype package for. Sometimes we have terrible pay-per-view matches that you get excited for because the hype package is just beautiful. As soon as the bell rings, And this is usually the fourth taping of NXT is usually when the crowd is dead, they're tired. It's been 4 hours plus for NXT. The crowd's usually out of it. This crowd was hot for this entire match. This match was a classic, classic car wreck in a good way. It was a car wreck in a good way. This was great. They were slowly, as soon as the bell rings and you have the Johnny Wrestling, all four men were slowly sizing each other up, one in each corner. They started coming in a little bit. Dane and Black, Gargano and Sullivan started fighting each other. Black started kicking everybody's heads off. Black with a springboard backflip into his Indian style pose. I love that. Is one of the best things he does, just get into the heads. By the way, Sullivan was on the outside when he was going to look like he was going to do a springboard to the outside, but he does a springboard backflip into the Indian style pose. Just beautiful. Then he gets on the top rope when Sullivan's still outside and decides to do a moonsault. Didn't turn out well because Sullivan grabs him in midair and just drops him on the apron on the outside. Johnny Gargano decides, I'm going to try and take out Sullivan. Jumps over the top rope, gets caught too, dropped on the apron as well. Then Killian Dane, who before this show got started, I came on to the WWE Network 15, 20 minutes beforehand and caught the last 20 minutes of the War Games match, which is my favorite stipulation match of the year in NXT and WWE. It was just awesome. That match right there was why Killian Dane was given this chance. He put on a performance in that match that showed that this guy, when they break him away from sanity, because let's be honest, he will. Eric Young already established, we all know what he can do. Killian Dane is going to be the MVP of. He was the MVP of the last 2 months, just in my opinion. But he decides he's gonna do a suicide dive, and he suicide dives through the middle. They call it tope suicida. I think they go with tope suicida for the most time because they don't want the word suicide suicide associated with WWE anymore. It is what it is. It's whatever they want to do. But he nails Lars Sullivan and just crushes him between him and the steel grated ramp, which put us to a break. Back from break, avalanche splash to Gargano for a 2 count. Dane gets knocked outside after that. Sullivan comes inside, throws Gargano into the corner, does the same exact thing, gets a 2 count. Dane pulls him out this time. And Dane ends up getting thrown into the steel steps, taking him out of the match for a minute. Then Aleister Black and Sullivan start fighting up towards the ramp. Sullivan ends up throwing Aleister Black out towards the commentary booth, towards that steel girl. Then Johnny Gargano, after getting hit with 2 avalanche splashes in the corner, eventually gets up and gets outside and starts fighting with Lars Sullivan. Lars Sullivan picks him up and throws him into Aleister Black. And you think, oh, what is this going to go to? Sullivan gets over to the announce table, sending all 3 of those guys off. Tears up the announce table, pulls everything off, gets Johnny Gargano, and looks to powerbomb him through the announce table. He does not, because Johnny Gargano grabs the steel frame that's behind him with the NXT stuff behind him and climbs up a little bit. Aleister Black comes in and knees Sullivan in the face. Lars Sullivan ends up getting laid out on the announce table. Killian Dane, in the back behind Johnny Gargano, is on the ramp, on the stage. Full steam ahead, runs like a bullet, splashes Lars Sullivan through the announce table, and takes him out for a good portion of this match. 6 spot, really awesome. Killian Dane, I've known him since Big Damo from 2016, before he joined WWE when he was the first What Culture Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. This guy I knew from then was going to be a big star. The fact that they put him with Sanity under the wing of Eric Young, who is a seasoned veteran. I don't know how long he's actually been in the ring. Dane, he's probably been there been wrestling for a couple years. but I knew that he was going to be something special in WWE. He's got a big size, so you know that Vince McMahon's probably going to want to push him. He's like a little bit taller than Kevin Owens, I believe, and he can move like a young Samoa Joe when Samoa Joe was doing a lot more than he does now when it comes to cruiserweight type moves. Black and Gargano make their way back to the ring because the two big men are taken out for this time. They stare each other down, dueling chants for these two. Slingshot spear was blocked while they were battling into a knee to the head for a 2 count. Gargano gets the Gargano escape onto Aleister Black. Too early in the match, I knew he was going to tap out here, but Killian Dane, Big Damo, I like to say because that's what I know him as, hits a senton to break it up. Dane with a wasteland to Johnny Gargano, I believe, to Aleister Black for a 2 count. Gargano breaks it up, who gets a powerbomb for his troubles. Dane gets another 2 count. Gargano and Black with an avalanche powerbomb to Killian Dane. Dane was up on the one corner. Aleister Black's trying to powerbomb himself off the corner. Dane's not having any of that. He's just sitting there fighting to try and stay on. Johnny Gargano comes up as well, and they both just nail him with the powerbomb. As you see this, you can see Killian Dane did get a little busted open from that splash early on in the match. So if anybody wanted to see blood and you missed those old days of blood in the match, you got yourself some blood. Congratulations. Sullivan starts getting back up at this time and runs back into the ring and just starts running over Gargano and Black. He lays them both down with a clothesline because they both tried to double clothesline him. That didn't work. He broke through their arms and hit them both devastatingly with those clotheslines. Throws Gargano outside of the ring. Hits a spinning slam on Aleister Black. He threw Black out, didn't he? Which either one? He threw one of them out, hit a spinning slam on the other one. Dane broke that up at a 1 count. He throws... Okay, it was, yeah. He throws Gargano out the second time, and him and Killian Dane start going at each other. I'm not a big fan of big guy versus big guy on the most parts, like, a Braun Strowman versus Kane type match, just because we know how that's going to go. But Lars Sullivan, Killian Dane, I would love to see have a nice 10-minute, 15-minute match one-on-one, because those two I could see having, especially if you do it now and not, say, 5-6 years from now when these guys have been around for a while, I could see these guys sometime in 2018 having a takeover match against each other and just tearing the house down because these guys can work like smaller guys, and yet they're like behemoths. Dane and Sullivan start exchanging blows. Dane with a lariat from the corner to Sullivan. Black gets back in the ring with kicks to each man. Then knee strikes to Dane with a couple of elbows. A Caparana, I think is what they call it, to Sullivan. That springboard moonsault to Sullivan. Then a running knee strike. He actually gets the black mass on Sullivan. Looks like he's going to win the match, and the match ends like this. As soon as he hits the black mass, Fish and O'Reilly get in, pull him out. Black stops them both and tries to get back in the ring. Adam Cole comes out, pulls him out again, and does a suplex position, then just drops him onto his knee, taking him out of the match. Suicide dive by Gargano I almost said Michael Cole. I apologize to Adam Cole right then and there. To Adam Cole. He tosses Black back in the ring. Killian Dane tries to stop him. He ends up getting Hurricane Rana into Lars Sullivan. Gargano hits the slingshot DDT for a 3 count, and Johnny Gargano is your #1 contender and future NXT champion, who will take on Johnny Almas at TakeOver Philadelphia. Pretty much, Gargano was in the match. The show pretty much ends with Gargano in the ring celebrating, and the crowd is just showering him with Johnny wrestling. That's how the match in the show ends. What a match! Little disappointed that they added in, but if it wasn't for the fact that we're gonna build to a Aleister Black versus Adam Cole match at Philadelphia, and I mean a proper one, not the 10-minute match that we got where they left us with more to be desired. I cannot wait to see this match. I don't know how that's going to go. Maybe Cole actually gets his revenge and beats Aleister Black since he's no longer undefeated. So you don't have to see Aleister Black win he can actually take a loss now since he did get beat in this match. I thought and figured Killian Dane could have taken this loss because you're not going to pin Sullivan. Not at all. I knew that was not going to happen. He's too valuable to NXT to have him lose in a fatal four-way like this. I figured Aleister Black was the same way. He didn't need to lose this match, especially, but since they wanted to build towards a Adam Cole versus Aleister Black match where it's just Aleister Black wants to get his revenge on Adam Cole, I am fine with it. It will be a good match. That's going to be a great match, and I think it's going to steal the show. It's going to be a tough one between Gargano and Almas, which had a good match at Brooklyn 3 this year. So 2018 is going to be a good year. Next week, of course, is going to be the best of 2017, or is 2017 in review. The reason they're doing that for sure is that they only taped up to this week, and the next set of tapings is until January 4th, which is the day after NXT, if I'm pretty sure. Let me check my calendar here. Yes, January 4th, which they're not going to be in Full Sail. So this was the last set of Full Sail tapings for NXT until after the Royal Rumble. So I believe they're in the old Disney studio where Triple H would used to wrestle when he was in WCW, where they had that spinning ring. I hope they don't have that this time. But we have Baszler versus Kairi Sane, Cole versus Black, and Andrade Cien Almas versus Johnny Gargano, and probably the Authors of Pain versus the Undisputed Era at NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. That's 4 matches, and we still need a women's match for a women's title match. I'm hoping we don't have a women's triple threat match. I don't want to see that. We've already seen too many multi-person matches this year alone in NXT and WWE. I know we're going to see a triple threat match of Royal Rumble. I don't want to go into that, but we are going to see NXT TakeOver Philadelphia, if those matches all happen, which we know one is confirmed with Gargano and Andrade Cien Almas, it looks like we're going to see Authors of Pain versus the Undisputed Era, which would not be a bad match in my opinion. I'm sure those 4 guys would burn the house down. And I just cannot wait to see what we get coming into the new year. We will be back on NXT in 2 weeks, because there is nothing to really review next week. We will have our Raw and SmackDown. And speaking of Raw, I would like to thank the 500 and... Hold on, let me let my phone load it up. The 550, I think it says, no, 576 people who viewed my Monday Night Raw review. I don't know what I said on there to get that many views. Make sure to go give some love to SmackDown and to this NXT review as well. I will see you guys in the new year. I'm trying to get back some gaming to do for this, but with the way things are going in my life right now, I haven't been able to do any new kind of games. I will try and get something new for you guys in the coming in 2018. But again, thank you guys so much. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at @TheFrance, and hit that, and also find me on twitch.tv/TheFrance08. I am on there every day of the week, and I will see you guys in the new year. Have yourselves a wonderful new year, and I will see you guys then.